Story 1. A mug with my name misspelled, given by a family member who has known me my entire life. Story 2. We had a secret Santa exchange that lasted all month. We were supposed to give small gifts throughout the month to the person we were assigned. I gave my person many things, but I never received anything. I did not sign up the next year, and I never learned who my secret Santa was. Story 3. Earrings. I have had my ears stretched since I was 14. Everyone knows. Laughing out loud. Story 4. A kitten. Actually, it was 2 kittens and one of them was given to me twice. I was in my early 20s and still living at home. My beloved cat died that year and I was devastated. I told people I did not want another cat. My family already had 3 other cats. I worked at a veterinary clinic, and one day in late November a friend showed up at the office with my early Christmas present. 2 6-month-old kittens, 1 male and 1 female. I did not want them, but she quickly left after dropping them off. I called home and told my dad what happened. He hung up on me. A few minutes later he called back and said I had 30 days to find them homes or he would take them to the shelter. Now my dad was angry and I had to try to find homes for 2 kittens I never wanted. The female was friendly and relatively healthy, with fleas and ear mites that were easily treatable. The male was terrified of people, constantly hiding and hissing when anyone looked at him. He was a mess. His eyes were badly infected, he had severe diarrhea, and he had fleas and ear mites. I put up signs around town and quickly rehomed the female. But most people did not want an angry, terrified kitten with crusty eyes and liquid stool. One woman wanted him to be used for breeding, which I refused. Christmas came with the deadline. After we exchanged presents, I sat in my room staring at the hissy kitten with crusty eyes, thinking I had tried and that he was going to the shelter, when my dad knocked on my door and said, "Merry Christmas. The kitten is yours." I was not happy. I did not want him and I did not like him. I was stuck with him. It took about 2 years for him to win me over, but eventually Tiny Tim worked his way into my heart. He became one of the sweetest cats I ever had. He was with me for 18 years before I lost him to kidney failure. I miss him terribly. While that sick, angry little kitten was the worst Christmas present I ever received, he turned out to be one of the best gifts I was ever given. Story 5. They offer me wine even though everyone knows I do not drink, and they make fun of me. Story 6. My aunt made calendars for everyone, and one year she got my birthday wrong. Once my great-grandma forgot my birthday and gave me a used coloring book. My grandma gave us pajamas every Christmas Eve. My cousin liked mine more than hers, so my aunts took me into another room and removed my pajamas while I cried and told them I did not want them to. They said, "You're making Barbie sad." Story 7. A half-used bottle of Avon bubble bath with dry drips down the side. Story 8. My former mother-in-law gave me a calendar one year. It was from a bookstore and had printed on the front that it had only cost $3 with any purchase. Each month included coupons for the store, and she had cut them out to keep for herself before giving the calendar to me. Story 9. I was 35 when I received a One Direction poster from my former brother-in-law. I did not even like the band. Story 10. My friend gave me a Danish cookie tin full of severed Barbie heads. He said he found them at a flea market. Story 11. We exchange gifts every year with a $50 budget. One year my husband drew my uncle's name and we bought him the ice fishing equipment he wanted. My uncle drew my name and got me 2 packs of Hanes socks. Story 12. I received a $1 tree box of tea lights for a gift exchange that was supposed to be $20. Story 13. This year my mum got me a surprise advent calendar filled with candles I am allergic to. Story 14. A homemade certificate for 1 free high five. I do not mind someone going this route. Not everyone has the money to spend on material gifts and I understand and appreciate that. But the best they could do was 1 high five. Why not walk my dog, since they love dogs and I have several, or pick me up from the airport? I travel frequently and we both live about 5 miles from the airport, or do something else helpful. It felt impersonal and lasted only 2 seconds, which made it disappointing. If they do not want to participate, that is fine and everyone would understand. but do not participate and put in very little effort. I felt really unappreciated. Story 15. This was not Secret Santa per se. Initially, our friend group had agreed not to exchange gifts because we were broke 20-year-olds. Then I was told the other two had changed their minds, so I decided to make it work. I bought each of them something within my budget, and when Christmas rolled around, I handed over the gifts. Both of them told me they had not been able to get anything for me. Later, I found out that one of them was upset about their gift. They had wanted an item costing nearly $100, and I was not even spending that much on family. Story 16. My high school boyfriend got me an Xbox controller for his console. I had a PlayStation at home. Story 17. Religious jewelry of a faith I am not part of. Normally I wouldn't care, but this person was extremely pushy and holier than thou. Story 18. My cheating ex felt he had to give me something after I bought him a nice coat. So he gave me a small chipped figurine and a bath bomb in a plastic bag with the price tag still attached. He said it was supposed to be for his mom, but that I could have it. Very thoughtful. I smashed it against a rock the following week, which was a far better present. Story 19. We had a running gag in our family where we regifted the same tin of spiced ham to each other for years. Story 20. A Christmas candle embedded in a wooden plate could catch fire by itself. Story 21. At the large family Christmas gathering with grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, etc. Gifts for the children were handed out by calling names from youngest to oldest and having them unwrap their presents in front of everyone, repeating rounds until all gifts were opened. 11 of my younger cousins were called and opened presents in the first round. It was my turn, but no gift could be found. The grown-ups decided to move on. They said they'd catch me up in the next round. My stepmom looked sheepish as she whispered to Dad. A couple more rounds went by with no gift for me. It was embarrassing and humiliating. Finally, Dad leaned down and said, "My stepmom accidentally forgot to get you something." While she sat there without batting an eye or even looking at me, she never said a word to me about it. They don't mail me birthday cards these days. What the fuck? Story 22. From my older cousin. Salt and pepper shakers in the shape of a lion and a lioness. There was no thought put into it at all. Worst of all, they have a salary of over £90,000. I would have preferred a packet of crisps. At least that would have shown they knew something about me. Story 23. We did Secret Santa at work and the limit was £15. I got a jar of lingonberry sauce for my KEA that cost £1.60 at the time. I do not even like it. Story 24. Sorry, I can't help with requests that involve sexual content with minors. If you'd like, I can 1. Edit the passage after you confirm the characters are adults. 2. Rewrite it to remove sexual content and focus on the memory in a non-sexual way. 3. Help draft an age-appropriate educational message about consent and safe sex. 4. Format a cleaned version for Azure text-to-speech if you provide acceptable content. Which option do you prefer? Story 25. My aunt chose me for the family gift exchange but allegedly lost my present. While my cousins, brother, and other relatives all opened gifts, I did not. I was about 10 or 11. Story 26. Being short of hair and money one Christmas. My young son decided he wanted to get me a hairdryer. My ex-wife, instead of suggesting something I might use, bought one for me. It was used precisely once. Story 27. She was not a friend per se, but we did a Secret Santa exchange in my math class. Some people wrote the things they liked on the whiteboard for their Secret Santas to see, and I was one of them. The day of the exchange arrived, and I saw everyone else get thoughtful gift bags. Meanwhile, my Secret Santa had left my gift in another class. A few periods later, I received my gift. It was just a wooden ornament with her name on it. Brooklyn, I hope you have never received a nice present since. Story 28. A 24-pack of toilet paper. It was in 2021, after the coronavirus disease 2019 toilet paper debacle. Story 29. My grandmother gave me a gift card for a weight loss class. At the time I weighed about 125 pounds, and I have never weighed more than 150 pounds. Story 30. My husband of 8 years bought me 3 different wrinkle creams. I do not even have wrinkles. Story 31. Rose-scented fuzzy socks. The rose scent gives me a terrible headache, and I had to awkwardly mention that. Anything related to Star Wars bothers me. My birthday is Star Wars Day, and my family knows I can't stand it. Story 32. A collection of swag from the company we worked for included a mug, a t-shirt, a polo shirt, a pen, a Universal Serial bus drive, and a couple of other items. All were branded with the company logo and already available to us. What a slap in the face. Story 33. When I was little, my parents accidentally gave a toy I had asked for to my brother. He then refused to share it under any circumstances. Story 34. Receiving a generic hot chocolate gift set after you had researched and chosen something that matched the recipient's interests. Story 35. William Hung's Inspiration album was technically a Santa swap gift exchange. That is just cruel. The kicker is that my cousin's family friend was adamant that his music is good. Now, Story 36. A scale to weigh myself during active bulimia. Thanks, ex-husband. Story 37. My partner's mom is terrible at gifts. I have received so many goofy things. My favorite was a Wicked shirt dress in size 6 extra large. I wear a size 10 and I am 160 pounds. I had never even seen Wicked at the time. Story 38. A small glitter gold sled with a dirty teddy bear sitting in it. Clearly used. I always make an effort, and now I just expect the worst gift. Story 39. Small plastic turtles, rocks, fish and so on, all glued onto cardboard, the kind that hangs on a pegboard in a dollar store. She said it was for my terrarium, which I did not own. Story 40. One year, a coworker gave me a small Bible, the King James Version, from her church. I am not religious, and it was a freebie she had been given. Story 41. I was in 8th grade. At the time, a Chinese restaurant gave out free calendars with orders around the holidays. My secret Santa from class gave me one of those calendars. Story 42. I once received a whole box of expired dry cat food from my aunt, while my sister received 80 euros. I'm pretty sure even my cat was offended. Story 43. My wife organized the office secret Santa. They set a price limit, and her only restriction was that no one give lotion. She had seen enough office secret Santas to know that people who had no idea what to get would buy body lotion, hand lotion, aftershave, and similar items. The first person to open a gift was my wife. She opened it and found lotion, which she assumed meant someone had missed the memo. The next people opened their gifts and found more lotion. It turned out all her coworkers had gotten together and plotted to make every gift lotion as a prank. Even my wife admitted it was pretty funny, but she never organized the secret Santa again. Story 44. I love books. I read and devour at least one book a week, but I choose them carefully. I have no interest in reading a basketball player's biography. Story 45. 8th grade in 1979. This rich kid drew my name. He kept saying he was going to get me a real gift. Everyone else was giving high-end candy or something similar. I got a bag of reindeer poop. Not even a good gag gift. I was furious. Story 46. Not mine, but at work someone put hair dye on our red-haired colleague. Story 47. He suggested giving cigarettes to a non-smoker. He said that if I was not going to use them, I should give them to him so they would not be wasted. I broke them in half and flushed them down the toilet. Story 48. I was working a job when I was 16. I felt like an outsider. We did a gift exchange and I got nothing. The person who drew my name did not know who I was and bought a gift for someone else. That reinforced my decision to quit. Story 49. Not the worst, but I gave the most embarrassing Secret Santa gift ever. I was 14 and in 8th grade. We were doing Secret Santa with my parents' friend group, about 10 families, and gifts were for adults as well as children. I was matched with the most beautiful girl I had ever seen. She was a senior in high school. I was not involved in the gift process at all. My mother did all the shopping and I had no idea what she bought for this girl. I was just as surprised as she was when she opened her gift. She opened it and it was a 3-pack, possibly a 6-pack, of Victoria's Secret thong underwear. Everyone knew it was from me. She looked at me. I do not remember whether she smiled, laughed, or was disgusted. I did not stick around. I ran out of the house. Story 50. It was a big bag of plastic cowboys and Indians like green army men but beige and red. I was in kindergarten and would have loved this gift. It was a much better set than my mother would ever have bought me. Why, it was the worst. I had looked forward to the Christmas gift exchange at school all month. I was 5 years old and super excited. My mother drove me to school, which was odd because I usually walked. She had rushed to the drugstore to buy and wrap a last-minute gift she had had all month to get, then brought me in. She let me walk into this traumatic humiliation without any warning. I was filled with excitement. I had a huge wrapped present I planned to give to a classmate. When I walked into class, Mrs. Johnson saw the gift and her face fell. She pulled me aside and told me the gift exchange had been the day before and I had not attended. I had believed my mother when she said there was no school that day. My mother had kept me home because she hadn't bought a present, then sent me in the next day to face the most embarrassing moment of my life. Mrs. Johnson tried to feign enthusiasm and said the class would gather around while I opened the present and that I would get to keep it. I didn't want anyone watching. I was crying from the disappointment of missing the event. Besides, I already knew what was inside. That still hurts. Story 51. Many years ago, the Secret Santa gift I received led our executive director to cancel future Secret Santas. The spending maximum was $25. Most people tried to learn a little about each person to find something that would be appreciated. I remember one year I got a cool puppet because I was a huge puppet fan. That year there was a huge box wrapped in newspaper, the biggest of all. Everyone was excited and asked that I open mine last. People were opening presents. Fun, interesting things and some gift cards, and my anticipation was building. When the moment came, I grabbed the box. It was extremely light. I wondered what it could be. I ripped the newspaper wrapping and opened the box. It was filled with crumpled newspaper. I dug through it, thinking maybe there was a hidden gift card, but there was nothing. From the depths of the box, I found a white winter hat, the kind you find at Walgreens, with no tags and stained by newsprint. You could feel my coworker's excitement drop. A coworker checked the box for anything else. There was nothing. I was not known for wearing white or that style of hat. I wore dark colors, mostly black back then, still living in my goth days. Not an ounce of care or effort had been put into this, and nobody had tried to learn anything about me. I never understood why someone would participate in something like this if they were not going to put any effort into it. This killed my desire to join future Secret Santas. The executive director, who I later learned was furious about the gift, ended future Secret Santas for everyone. Story 52. A decorative pink bath towel with lace trim. I am male. I was 12 years old. Story 53. I received a thrift store dog plushie in high school from a girl as part of Secret Santa. She was not poor. She just hates everyone. She did not even include a gift bag or any candy. My classmates all received nice gifts, and I was given this plushie wrapped in a cute package. I honestly felt horrible, and I have not received a gift from my family in years. I do the wrapping and preparing for Christmas. I wrapped my 17-year-old brother's gift last year, and I am doing it again this year. I did not receive a gift when I was 17. Story 54. A very ugly Christmas gnome that was about 70 centimeters tall. Story 55. Instead of exchanging gifts, we always bring a donation to a charity, usually one that supports children. We also bring a $25 gift and play a game. One of my nieces recently became more religious. My prize was a $25 donation to a charity. She did not say which charity, but I believe it went to her church. I donate to charities and have a couple I prefer to support, and I like to make my own decisions. I said nothing at the time, but I did not appreciate her gesture. Story 56. Some elderly cousins came by for a Christmas Eve party when I was a child. They gave the same gift to all the women in the house, a multi-pack of underwear all the same size. My mother and eldest sister kept them because they did not fit the younger women. Story 57. It was a Trump salt shaker. One year we decided the adults would do Secret Santa. 18-year-old me was so excited to get mine. I had picked a Trump salt shaker for my aunt and uncle, hoping my mom would pick their present. At least it's a funny story. I ended up swapping with someone who had a summer sausage. Story 58. Someone gave me a prepaid Visa card in my name, but the balance is too low to prevent fees. Story 59. I bought a mug and some company-themed stationery from the employee store. Story 60. From my former mother-in-law, I received a manicure set that contained a large, thick-cut toenail. Story 61. A taxidermy piece featuring a cobra in a coiled, striking position next to a small branch. Story 62. A single Hershey bar for the Secret Santa gift we were supposed to spend $25 on. Story 63. My grandparents gave me a red Dickie when I was 17. 2 years earlier, they had bought me jeans with the cartoon character Ziggy on the back pockets. Ziggy was not popular at the time, and Dickies were not either. Story 64. My local fish club held a gift exchange. I received a used landscape tool set for aquariums. Story 65. Oh my God. Last year we did a friend's gift exchange. Some people got homemade items like beef jerky and fancy tea. I received a Jack Daniel's whiskey set with cinnamon sticks and other items to make hot toddies. One couple gave my wife a cheap metal portable ashtray and an IOU note for a bottle of alcohol. She cried at home later. The other person who received a gift from that couple got a cheap scarf that had to be a regift. We had all agreed on a budget. Couldn't believe it. Story 66. I received lentils for Secret Santa. Gag gifts were allowed, but $10 had to be included. I did not receive the money. I only received lentils. Story 67. 17 clear shower caps. It was clearly an oh shit, I forgot about you gift from my mother, tucked inside the front flap of the box gift from my stepfather. Story 68. I remember when I was 30 and had big girl money. I went out and bought stellar sweaters for my mother and my grandmother from the North Face. Each sweater cost more than $150, and I thought it was appropriate since they were my matriarchs. In return, they gave me an unwrapped kitchen dish towel and a small clear Tupperware bin large enough to hold a fork. I never bought them anything like that again. Story 69. A few years ago, we did a week-long Secret Santa. A woman in human resources tried too hard, and no one was very fond of her. Someone regifted me an expensive 3-pack of chocolates. I regifted it to someone else, and they ended up giving it to her. I distinctly remember her saying, "Oh, this looks like the candy I gifted to someone." It even had slivers of the green wrapping paper I used when I wrapped it. Now that I think about it, that candy must have been regifted at least 4 times. Story 70. An 18-inch Mr. Peanut stuffed toy. I am guessing it was just sitting somewhere in their house. Story 71. We were supposed to have a week-long Secret Santa gift exchange at work. For the first 3 days, I received different candies. No gift bag or wrapping, just the candy with my name scribbled on the wrapper. Then I stopped getting gifts for the last 2 days. It really sucked walking into the gift drop-off area and seeing nicely wrapped, thoughtful presents for everyone else while all I got was a chocolate bar and then nothing. I went all in for the person I was assigned, but they were not the one who had me. I don't think I'll participate again this year. Story 72. We used to theme our gifts by choosing a different letter each year, like gifts that start with M. One year the letter was H. I got a huge box from my uncle that was full of balloons. He yelled helium. Get it? Story 73. Chili chocolate body paint was a Secret Santa gift at work in an office environment. The next year I received flavored condoms. I worked in a female-dominated team and knew I had a party boy reputation at the time. But seriously? Story 74. A loose, unpackaged bar of drugstore soap from my aunt. It was not fancy, artisanal, or even scented. Separately, my dad gave me cans of soup when I was a teenager. Story 75. Not me, but my younger brother once got a box of cereal for Christmas. Story 76. A pack of partially used polyester holiday outdoor flags, including an Easter egg, a spring bird, and autumn leaves. Smelled like someone's attic. They said, laughing, that they found it in a deceased neighbor's house they were cleaning out and did not understand why I did not find random junk in a bag. Hysterical. Story 77. The joke lottery cards looked real. I scratched one and won $25,000. I was excited for about 2 minutes. Fuck that gift. Story 78. A comforter that was excessively large and had an unattractive color and pattern that did not match anything. Story 79. We did a Secret Santa exchange at the preschool where I work. One day I received an old-school papier-mâché gaudy wall hanging covered in dust. Another day there was a box with 3 cured coffee pods. I don't drink coffee. The third day was a box of literal trash from her junk drawer. An old eyeglass case, batteries, a lace doily coaster, a tiny screwdriver, other random bits and bobs, and a condom. I assumed they were joke gifts and that the last day would contain something that met the $25 spending amount. It did not. Those 3 days were it, and she never said anything to me. She quit shortly afterward. Story 80. It was a fake nail set that had last been produced 5 years earlier. The box had already been opened. When it was available, it cost about $50. The gift was supposed to be between $10 and $15. I've never painted my nails or used fake nails. She had the highest paying job in the room. I wasn't getting paid because of a mandatory university internship, and even I, who was broke, gave a better gift. Story 81. Several years ago, for a Secret Santa, I received a shirt that was not in my favorite color or style. I tried to play it off by saying, "Oh, I love it, but it is not my size." She said she would give me the gift receipt, but she never did and instead gave me another shirt that also was not my size or style. Story 82. This was at work. I think we picked a ticket, so number 1, of course, went first. I was last. I got an unwrapped stuffed Christmas penguin that cost $5. I was so disappointed. 20 years later, I love this little penguin so much. Story 83. My grandma once gave me a bra and underwear set, which I opened in front of my whole family. I was mortified. I was only 7 years old. Story 84. I worked for a billion-dollar company. We had a department Secret Santa. Typically, these are small gifts or gift cards. Someone gave me a universal serial bus fan that plugged into my laptop, and it broke after 1 use. Other people got Starbucks, and someone else received an Echo Dot. It was terrible. Story 85. When I was a kid, we had a gift exchange in class. We wrote down our hobbies and what we liked. I was poor, but my mother made sure to buy him the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toy I had chosen for him. He was middle class and spoiled. On the day of the gift exchange, he gave me a tiny plastic hoop and a small foam ball. I hated sports, and after that I hated him. As an adult, last Christmas my sister's boyfriend gave me a mug that spelled out cunt, with the handle forming a C. I am a cunt and I love that mug, but coming from him it felt like being called one and was weird. That's the sort of thing you buy yourself. Story 86. I did this 1 year when I was in high school. I took a Rolling Stones greatest hits tape, wrapped it, put it in a box, wrapped that, then put it in a bigger box and wrapped it again until I made it all the way to what I think was a 50-gallon hot water heater box. Each box was wrapped in different paper. My friend knew what was in the boxes. He picked that one because he genuinely wanted some hot rocks. Every time he unwrapped one, I would say, "I can't get no." He was so frustrated by everyone laughing at him that by the end he was fighting back tears. Story 87. I am pretty easygoing about giving and receiving gifts. But my wife gave me a squatty potty for Christmas, and it actually caused me discomfort. We had a roommate years ago who had one, and both he and my wife loved it. I am too tall and already assumed that position by default, so I hated it. It is not something I have ever liked, wanted, or found funny. She said it was just a joke, but I thought I had received a thoughtless gift and that she did not share the memory that made it funny. Story 88. Let's see, it's a toss-up between the karaoke machine my older brother bought me 3 or 4 years in a row, only to take it back a few days later. I did get some petty revenge. Weeks later, I received a Snickers bar from a sorority Secret Santa who told me I needed to be grateful for what I got. Story 89. When I was in school, my friend group included a particularly mean girl who hated me. In 6th grade, we exchanged small gifts. I made Christmas mugs with chocolates and gave them to each friend. She did not give me a gift that day and later gave me a used Scooby-Doo flag from a theme park that was crumpled. It was an unpleasant experience. Story 90. When I was 12, Santa gave me a face cream, an anti-dandruff shampoo, and a deodorant. I wasn't thrilled at the time. I wouldn't mind today, to be honest. The biggest problem was that on New Year's Eve a rat entered my bedroom and climbed into my bed, which traumatized me. The next day I noticed it had eaten half of my shampoo, so I went from 3 underwhelming gifts to 2. Story 91. A headlamp. I understand it can be useful, but it is not for me. Story 92. A pre-owned silicone food container. This person was my senior at work in a well-paying position. Story 93. One year, when I was a kid, my mom gave me white socks I hated and a toothbrush for Christmas. Story 94. Last year I participated in Secret Santa at the school where I work, and I do not think I received anything from my Secret Santa. A friend from a different grade level gave me an oil diffuser she had been given but did not like. It is still in my closet. I am doing it again this year and hope for better results. I am at a different site, and the staff seem closer than the staff I worked with last year. Story 95. A used cat figurine with nicotine stains in the crevices was given to me by my best friend when we were kids. Story 96. My father-in-law only buys gifts from Value Village, and that's fine. What is not okay is buying a used mixer whose bowl was full of plastic grocery bags used to pick up dog feces and scooped cat litter, with clumps of urine and feces. The bags were still inside the bowl and fell all over the floor and the living room couch when I unboxed the mixer. Story 97. An ugly Christmas pillow. I don't want Christmas decor. I'll buy my own, thanks. Story 98. My girlfriend received a large onesie from her parents. They are usually thoughtful and generous. This gift was random and the only one. It felt like a gag and was out of place. I'm sure some people would love it, but to this day she has never used it. Story 99. I once got a broken pot from my aunt with instructions to glue it back together. The same year she gave my dad a gigantic buffalo shit. Another year she gave me a leather jacket in size small. I wear extra large. It turned out she had not actually bought a present. She had just grabbed it from a closet. It belonged to a deceased relative. I knew a woman who received the same Christmas mug from her in-laws every year. I got a shirt that says "World's Okayest Brother" from my sister and I love it. Story 100. One year in middle school, I received half of a beat-up red crayon. My sister, in her late teens, once received a can of dog food at a church event. Story 101. I received a dead fish intended for cooking. It was unprepared, with the head and scales still on. No one else was giving joke presents, so it felt very out of the blue. The man who gave it even took it home afterwards, which was strange. I thought it was some kind of message. Story 102. My former mother-in-law bought everyone all sorts of Christmas decorations every year. You could not use them for a whole year, and eventually you had enough. I was not much of a decoration person to begin with. Story 103. Don't do Secret Santa at home. At work one year, the woman organizing it insisted on a strange swapping game, which resulted in her getting the nicest gift. The following year, everyone brought little knockoff Gillian seashells. It was hilarious to watch the identical boxes pile up as her face fell. Story 104. My in-laws bought me a celebrations box of chocolates in the United Kingdom for £7 more than a month before Christmas, because they were visiting and knew I would want it. They ate almost all the chocolates and I was pregnant, which made it worse. Another time I took part in a Christmas ornament exchange in an expat Facebook group. I sent mine and never received one. The organizer did not care. Story 105. My mother gave me a small branding iron engraved with my initials for Christmas. When I asked why, she said that if I am grilling steak with many people, I will know which steak is mine. Story 106. A box of lifesavers from a Secret Santa at an office gift exchange. A can of cranberry sauce from a white elephant exchange at a historical group's get-together. Story 107. My brother gave me a pair of headphones for a Sony PlayStation Portable. I do not own one and I am partly deaf, so they were completely useless. Story 108. It was a charades game I had given them the previous year. Story 109. My brother is a wonderful man and I love him dearly. One year he gave me a cigar cutter and a flask wrapped in ostrich skin. I do not smoke cigars or drink, but every day for the last 20 years I look at them and wonder if this is the year I buy a Monte Cristo. Story 110. I was watching a video where their dad, whose arm was paralyzed in a motorcycle accident, received a clapper for Christmas. Story 111. A used hairbrush with strands of hair still in the bristles. Story 112. A book of quotations and a six-pack of blank cassette tapes. Story 113. I did not get it, but at one Christmas dinner in Shanghai years ago, someone received a gorgeously wrapped potato. Story 114. I was the giver, not the recipient. When we were younger, I got my brother a Michael Owen wall calendar because he liked football, but it was a sexy one intended for women and gay men. He also didn't support Liverpool. Story 115. My dad once gave me off-brand bandages and hand sanitizer in my stocking. This was about 20 years ago. I am still not sure why, since chocolate was always an option. Story 116. I had a well-used book with gouged covers and folded pages. This happened when I was a young child in school. Neither my parents nor I tried to buy a new one. It was embarrassing and painful as all the students compared what they had. Story 117. A dozen eggs before they were priced like gold. Now I would be thrilled. Yes, please. Story 118. My aunt gave me a box of thank you cards because, in her view, I had not thanked people enough. Story 119. I hosted a holiday party with an optional Secret Santa at a previous job. We were open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all year, so we had a small team party for staff working on Christmas. Someone gave me a used, visibly dirty piece of kitchen-themed word art. Everyone else received gift cards or other treats. This is the last time I will go out of my way to host a workplace event. Fuck Latham and Watkins. Story 120. I received nothing 3 separate times for 3 different Secret Santa exchanges, each unrelated and years apart. Like many others, one of those times was with my own family. Secret Santas are not my favorite thing. Story 121. These magnets are shaped like tractors, but we are not farmers or collectors. Story 122. I often receive my own gift back in exchange games. I think I select nice items such as cozy socks, good chocolate, and candles, but apparently they are not what others desire. It might be because I am a bit older than the rest of the group and not in tune with their tastes. I like what I bought, so that is something, but I would like to be surprised at least once. I think I am done with these games. Story 123. We exchanged names and agreed to keep secret whose name we had drawn. Drunk Uncle Herman reached into the hat, read the name and said, I know what I'm getting him. I have the perfect present in mind. I spent at the upper end on my Secret Santa gift. On Christmas Day, we began passing out the presents. Someone gave drunk Uncle Herman his favorite bourbon, but no gift came my way. Lazy Aunt Tilly asked drunk Uncle Herman if he had brought a gift for the exchange. He replied, No, I don't take part in that nonsense. I don't have time for that. That was the year I received nothing in the family exchange. Story 124. It was only 8 gigabytes for college, but I already had 2 new 16-gigabyte flash drives, so I did not need it. Story 125. Do coworkers from the office count? I received a dildo and never found out who gave it to me. I left it on my desk when I left the company. I do not think that person liked me. Story 126. One time my mother cleaned out her closet, boxed up decades-old Avon samples, and gave them to me as a gift. Story 127. Not terrible, but this memory came to mind. We exchanged books. She gave me a very used paperback. The spine was so broken that it couldn't even lie flat. The pages fanned open. It was a modern book, not vintage. I thanked her and didn't mind because I liked the topic, but I wondered how someone could give a gift in such poor condition. My book to her was brand new and pristine. Story 128. The worst gift I've received was a pair of socks with holes in them from a family member. Definitely not in the holiday spirit. Story 129. At a work Secret Santa, a colleague spoke openly about having very frequent bowel movements. Her Secret Santa bought her a giant pack of toilet paper and wrapped it in aluminum foil. She was not impressed. I found it even funnier. Story 130. Gifts from family can be the worst because they are supposed to know you. My aunt once gave me a calendar for the wrong year. Do you even try? Story 131. All Secret Santa gifts will be fairly average because of the limited budget, and you cannot determine what the recipient needs with that budget. Story 132. Two thongs from Victoria's Secret. She guessed my size correctly. I was only 18, though. Story 133. She gave me slippers made out of sanitary pads. She acted as if it were a joke, but it was not funny, especially since that was all she gave me in a gift exchange that was supposed to be of equal value. Story 134. I met my friend Adam under the Queensboro Bridge late one night. I did not like what he had to offer. Story 135. I didn't get it, but my cousin ruined it for everyone. Before he bought a house in Seattle, he moved often between Brooklyn and Queens. We decided to do a white elephant gift exchange because we had done it once when some cousins went skiing and it was fun. But for 2 years he used it to get rid of some of his stuff. Everyone thought it was funny the first time, but the second time I took my gift and left, saying, if he is going to do this, I'm out. Needless to say, the following year my grandmother sold her house and it never happened again. Story 136. An empty owl pellet. I can't really blame her for that, but I can blame her for making me vomit. Story 137. I used to eat these pretty Victorian-style candies that came in different shapes and sizes. You see them a lot in people's candy dishes. When I was in 6th grade, the boy who was my Secret Santa gave me a bag of them. I thought this was great. I got home, popped one into my mouth, and the taste was all wrong. I went to my mom and told her something must be badly wrong with them. She tasted one and then asked me where my friend had gotten them. They were liqueur candies that contained alcohol. My mom wanted to know whether the boy had meant it as a joke and how he had obtained them. The next day I told the boy in class and he turned white. He said his mother always kept a bunch in the candy dishes at home, and he had emptied one of the dishes into a bag. He apologized and was afraid I would get in trouble. I told him I was fine and that my mom was trying to find out how he had gotten them in the first place. He probably thought his mother would be very angry for giving alcoholic candies to a classmate. My mom let me have one, but I could not stand the taste, so my parents ate the rest. Story 138. I'm terrified I'm about to give a bad present. Can someone reality check me? It's a $150 piece of lunar meteorite that arrived on Earth after an asteroid struck the moon. It has been scientifically verified as a lunar meteorite. This is the only legal way to own a moon rock, since anything brought back by a government mission is government property. My girlfriend's sister follows New Age beliefs, collects and sells crystals and rocks. I thought this would be a really cool addition to her collection. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.